The stars looked different in this part of space. Captain Maria Chen stood on the bridge of the Tenacity and watched the display screens with careful eyes. Her ship was small compared to the massive vessels the other alien races flew, but it was fast, and right now that mattered more than size. "Captain, we're approaching the boundary," said Lieutenant Jackson from his station. His fingers moved across the controls, checking their position again and again. Maria nodded. She knew exactly where they were. The Galactic Council had marked this region of space with warnings in every known language. Forbidden Zone Theta 7. No one was allowed to enter. No exceptions, but Earth needed what might be inside. The rare isotopes that powered the new fusion reactors were running out. Without them, billions of people would freeze in the dark. Maria had seen the reports. Earth had maybe 5 years left before the crisis became impossible to fix. 3 days ago, an alien trader had stumbled into a human outpost. He was dying, his ship torn apart by something no one could identify. Before he died, he had grabbed Maria's arm with surprising strength. His 3-fingered hand had shaken as he pressed a data chip into her palm. "Forbidden Zone," he had whispered in broken English, "but riches beyond measure. My people searched for centuries. We found the location, but we are too afraid to go." Maria had asked him why. What was in the zone that scared an entire civilization? The trader had just smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp and too many. "The old ones left guardians. The council knows. They keep everyone out. But humans are new. Maybe you can succeed where we failed." Then he had died, and Maria had been left with a choice. Report the data chip to the council and watch them lock it away forever, or investigate herself and maybe save Earth. She had chosen to investigate. "All crew, this is the captain," Maria said into the ship-wide channel. "We're about to cross into the Forbidden Zone. I won't lie to you. This is dangerous. Every record we have says ships that go in don't come back. But Earth is counting on us. If anyone wants to object, speak now." The bridge was silent. Maria looked at her crew. Jackson at navigation, Chen at weapons, Rodriguez at engineering, Okoro at communications, Jen at sensors. They were the best Earth had to offer, hand-picked for this mission. Not one of them looked away. "No objections, Captain," Jackson said quietly. "Let's go find out what the council is hiding." Maria felt pride swell in her chest. "Take us in. Stealth mode. Keep us dark and quiet." The Tenacity slipped across the invisible boundary like a ghost. Immediately, Zhen's sensor station lit up with warnings. "Captain, I'm reading massive interference," Zhen said. His dark eyes were wide behind his glasses. "The background radiation is off the charts. And there's something else. Something big. Define big," Maria said, moving to stand behind his station. "I can't get a clear reading. The interference is too strong. But whatever it is, it's the size of a small moon, maybe bigger." Jen adjusted his controls, trying to filter out the noise. "Wait, there are multiple objects. They're in a pattern, like they're placed deliberately." Maria felt cold fingers run down her spine. "Defensive positions? Could be. Or they could be sensor platforms. Or weapons. I just can't tell through all this interference." Rodriguez's voice crackled over the intercom from engineering. "Captain, our stealth systems are working overtime. Something is scanning us. Multiple sources. The power drain is manageable for now, but if this keeps up, we'll have maybe 6 hours before we have to go to full power and drop the stealth." 6 hours. Not much time to search an entire star system. Maria looked at the main display. The data chip had pointed them to the 3rd planet in the system. According to the trader's information, that was where the isotope deposits were located. "Jackson, plot a course to the 3rd planet. Stay as far from those unknown objects as possible, and be ready to run if things go wrong." "Yes, Captain." The Tenacity moved deeper into the Forbidden Zone. The silence on the bridge was heavy. Everyone knew they were being watched. The question was by what? 30 minutes passed. Then an hour. The unknown objects stayed where they were, but the scanning never stopped. Maria could feel the pressure building. Something was out there deciding what to do about them. "Captain," Jen said suddenly, "the objects are moving. All of them. They're changing position. Towards us? No. They're forming a sphere around the 3rd planet. Like they're protecting it." Maria's mind raced. Protecting it from what? From them? Or protecting something on the planet from everything else? "Jackson, how long until we reach the planet?" 20 minutes at current speed. Chen, ready all weapons. "Don't fire unless I give the order." Rodriguez, I need every bit of power you can give me for shields and engines. If we need to run fast. The acknowledgements came back quick and professional. Maria returned to her captain's chair and sat down. Her hands gripped the armrests. 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, they would either find what they were looking for, or they would find out why so many ships had disappeared. The third planet grew larger on the screens. It was beautiful, Maria thought. Blue and green and wrapped in white clouds. It looked almost like Earth. But as they got closer, the sensors revealed the truth. The planet was artificial. Every continent, every ocean, every mountain range had been built by someone. Something. My God, Jen whispered. Captain, this isn't a planet. It's a structure. A ring world. The size of it, it's impossible. The engineering required, Maria didn't answer. She was staring at the display, trying to understand what she was seeing. Who had built this? And more importantly, why had the council hidden it? Then the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed across every station. Captain, the objects are activating, Chen shouted. They're weapons platforms, ancient design but still functional. They're locking onto us. Evasive maneuvers. Jackson, get us out of here. But even as she gave the order, Maria knew they were too late. The first energy beam cut through space where they had been a second before. The tenacity rolled and dove, Jackson's piloting skills keeping them alive by inches. We're not going to make it to the boundary, Jackson said through gritted teeth. They're too fast. Maria made her decision in a heartbeat. Head for the ring world. Get us to the surface. It's our only chance. The tenacity screamed through the atmosphere, ancient weapons firing all around them. The crew held on as their ship shook and rattled. And Maria wondered if she had just saved her crew or led them to something far worse than a quick death in space. They were about to find out. The tenacity hit the atmosphere hard. Fire streaked across the hull as they plunged toward the ring world's surface. Behind them, energy beams cut through the air, each shot getting closer. Jackson's hands flew across his controls, throwing the ship into rolls and turns that should have been impossible for a vessel of their size. Shields at 40%, Rodriguez called out. We can't take many more hits. There, Jen pointed at his display. Captain, I'm reading a canyon system. Deep enough to break their line of sight. Jackson, you heard him. Get us into those canyons. The ship dove toward the surface. The ring world's landscape rushed up to meet them. Maria could see forests and rivers and mountains that looked almost real. But Jen was right. Everything was built. Even the trees were too perfect, arranged in patterns that nature would never create. They shot into the canyon with meters to spare on either side. The walls blurred past them. Jackson kept the ship low, following every twist and turn. Above them, the weapons platforms fired into the canyon, but their beams hit the walls instead of the tenacity. They've stopped firing, Chen said, but they're still tracking us. The moment we leave the canyon, they'll hit us again. Then we don't leave the canyon, Maria said. Zhen, scan for any structures. Buildings, doors, anything we can use for shelter. Already on it, Captain. There's something ahead, big, really big. It looks like a hangar bay or docking port. The entrance is wide enough for us. Is it open? I think so. The scanner shows an opening, but there's interference again. I can't tell what's inside. Maria didn't hesitate. Jackson, take us in. Everyone else prepare for anything. The canyon opened up into a massive cavern. The entrance was a dark rectangle cut into the rock face. It was easily large enough to fit 10 ships the size of the tenacity. Jackson slowed their speed and guided them through. The inside was pitch black. Jackson switched on the ship's external lights. The beams cut through the darkness, revealing a space so vast that their lights couldn't reach the far walls. The floor was smooth metal, unmarked by time or use. Set us down easy, Maria said. Chen, keep weapons ready. This could be a trap. The tenacity landed with a gentle thump. For a moment, no one moved. They all stared at the screens, waiting for something to happen. Atmosphere outside is breathable, Jen said. Composition similar to Earth. Temperature is comfortable. No toxins detected. That's convenient, Rodriguez muttered. Almost like someone wanted visitors. Maria stood up. Jackson, Chen, Rodriguez, you're with me. Chen and Okoro, you have the bridge. If anything happens to us, you take the ship and run. Don't look back. Get this information to Earth. Captain, we're not leaving you. Okoro protested. That's an order. Maria's voice was firm. Earth needs to know what's here. That's more important than any of us. She didn't wait for more arguments. Maria headed to the airlock and grabbed an environment suit. The others followed her lead. Even if the air was breathable, she wasn't taking chances. They stepped out onto the metal floor. Their boots echoed in the vast space. Maria turned on her helmet light and added it to the ship's beams. Slowly, shapes began to emerge from the darkness. Massive machines lined the walls. Docking clamps hung from the ceiling. Control stations stood silent and waiting. This was a port, Jackson said quietly, for ships much bigger than ours. Maria nodded. She was looking at the machines. They were old, older than anything she had ever seen. But they didn't look broken or worn. They looked like they were waiting. Captain, movement. Chen's weapon came up, pointing into the darkness. Lights began to activate throughout the hangar, not all at once, but in sequence, like someone was waking up a sleeping giant. The lights revealed the true size of the space. It was enormous, and they were not alone. At the far end of the hangar, something was rising from the floor, a sphere maybe 3 meters across made of black metal that seemed to absorb light. It floated up until it was level with Maria's head, then drifted toward them. "Hold your fire," Maria ordered. Her heart was pounding, but she kept her voice steady. "Let's see what it wants." The sphere stopped 5 meters away. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then it spoke. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was neither male nor female, young nor old. It simply was, analyzing. Species unknown. Technology primitive. Entry method unconventional. Survival probability against defense grid was calculated at 0.03%. Yet you survived. Interesting. Maria stepped forward. "I am Captain Maria Chen of Earth. We mean no harm. We entered this zone searching for resources our people need to survive. Earth. Checking database. No record of Earth. No record of your species. You are very new to space travel. Yet you entered a forbidden zone without permission. Foolish or desperate." "Desperate," Maria admitted. "Our world is dying. We need the isotopes that are supposed to be here." The sphere was silent for a moment. Maria wondered if it was thinking or simply deciding whether to kill them. "I am Sentinel. I was created by the progenitors to guard this facility. My purpose is to protect what lies within and to test those who seek to claim it. Many species have come before you. All have failed. All have died. We don't want to claim anything," Rodriguez said. "We just need fuel. What you seek is not here. The coordinates you received were incomplete. This facility does not contain isotopes. It contains something far more valuable. And far more dangerous." Maria felt her stomach drop. "What does it contain?" "Knowledge, power, the ability to reshape the galaxy. The progenitors built this place as a vault. They stored here their greatest achievement and their greatest shame. The Galactic Council knows of this place. They have known for thousands of your years. They keep others away because they fear what might happen if anyone claimed what is inside." "Why tell us this?" Jackson asked. "Because you survived the first test. The defense grid eliminates all who enter. But you did not fight as others have fought. You did not try to overpower the grid with weapons or shields. You used speed and unpredictability. You made choices that no AI could predict. The progenitors valued such thinking. It is why I have not killed you yet." Maria's mind was racing. "Yet that means you're still considering it." "I am. You have passed the first test, but there are more, many more. Only those worthy may access the vault. Only those who prove they will not misuse what they find. The Council species have all failed. They sought power for conquest. They sought knowledge for domination. What do you seek, Captain Maria Chen of Earth?" Maria looked at her crew. They were scared. She could see it in their eyes. But they were also brave. They had followed her into the forbidden zone knowing they might not return. "I seek survival," she said finally. "Not just for my ship or my crew, but for my entire species. We're young. We're weak compared to the other races. But we're trying to build something better. We just need time." "Time." An interesting answer. And honest. "I will give you a chance, humans. You will face the tests. If you succeed, you will have access to the vault. If you fail, your ship will be destroyed and no record of your presence will remain. Do you accept?" Maria thought about Earth. About the billions of people counting on her mission to succeed. About the empty fuel tanks and the cold darkness that waited if they failed. She thought about the crew behind her, who had trusted her enough to follow her here. "I accept. Then follow me. Your testing begins now." The sphere turned and floated deeper into the facility. Maria looked back at her crew. "Jen Okoro, did you hear all that?" "Every word, Captain." Okoro's voice crackled in her helmet. "What do you want us to do?" Stay with the ship. Be ready to leave if we don't come back. And if we don't, tell Earth what we found. Tell them to be careful. Yes, Captain. Good luck. Maria turned back to the sphere. It was waiting patiently. Around them, more lights were activating. Doors were opening in walls she hadn't even known were there. The facility was waking up. And somewhere in its depths, the tests were waiting. She started walking. Behind her, Jackson, Chen, and Rodriguez followed. Their footsteps echoed in the vast space, and Maria wondered if they were walking toward salvation or destruction. Only time would tell. The corridors of the ring world went on forever. Sentinel led them through passages that twisted and turned, always going deeper. The walls were smooth metal that reflected their lights like mirrors. Sometimes Maria saw strange symbols carved into the metal. They reminded her of circuit diagrams, but far more complex than anything humans had ever built. How many species have tried these tests? Maria asked Sentinel as they walked. 47 civilizations have entered this facility over the past 6,000 years. Some came alone. Others came in fleets. None succeeded. The Council sends ships every few centuries to check if the defenses still function. They never stay long enough to face the tests. Why not? Because the Council members know they would fail. They built their civilizations on strength and conquest. The progenitors did not value such things. They valued different qualities. What qualities? Rodriguez asked. You will discover this as you proceed. We have arrived at the first chamber. Sentinel stopped in front of a massive door. It was easily 10 meters tall and just as wide. The metal was darker than the walls, almost black. As they approached, the door split down the middle and opened silently. Beyond was a circular room with a high ceiling. The floor was divided into sections that glowed with different colors. Blue, green, red, yellow, and white. In the center of the room stood a pedestal with a crystal sphere resting on top. The first test is simple, Sentinel said. Reach the center and touch the sphere. You have 5 minutes. That's it? Chen asked. Just walk across and touch it? If it were that simple, others would have succeeded. Begin. Maria stepped forward onto the blue section. Immediately, the floor dropped away beneath her feet. She fell, her stomach lurching. But before she could scream, something caught her and pushed her back up. She landed on solid floor again, breathing hard. The floor is not always solid, Sentinel explained. Each colored section behaves differently. You must learn the pattern and cross without falling. Jackson carefully touched the edge of the blue section with his boot. It was solid. He stepped fully onto it. Nothing happened. He took another step. Still solid. On his third step, the floor vanished and he fell. Like Maria, he was pushed back up. It changes, Jackson said. The floor is solid sometimes and not solid other times. But there's no pattern, Rodriguez added. I've been watching. Blue is solid, then not solid, then solid again. No rhythm to it. Maria looked at the room more carefully. 5 colored sections between them and the center. 5 minutes to cross. But if the floor kept dropping them, they would never make it in time. It's not about the pattern, Chen said suddenly. Look at the colors. They're primary colors plus white. White is all colors combined. So, Rodriguez asked. So maybe we need to work together. Maybe the floor stays solid if we all step on different colors at the same time. Maria nodded slowly. It's worth trying. Everyone pick a color. On my count, we all step at the same time. They positioned themselves at the edge. Maria chose blue. Jackson took green. Chen stood by red. Rodriguez picked yellow. 3, 2, 1 step. They all stepped forward together. The floors under all 4 of them stayed solid. They took another synchronized step. Still solid. Again and again they moved together, calling out the timing to stay coordinated. They reached the white section in the center. Maria reached out and touched the crystal sphere. It lit up with warm light. Well done, Sentinel said. You succeeded where others failed. They each tried to cross alone, believing strength or speed would carry them through. You worked together. You trusted each other. This is the first quality. Cooperation. The sphere pulsed once, then went dark. Another door opened on the far side of the room. The second test awaits. They followed Sentinel through more corridors. Maria's legs were shaking slightly from adrenaline. She had been sure they were going to fail. But Chen's quick thinking had saved them. The second chamber was different. It was filled with water. Deep water. Maria could see light glowing far below the surface, but couldn't tell how deep it went. One of you must swim to the bottom and retrieve the key, Sentinel said. The key will open the door on the far side. But the water is cold. Very cold. You will have perhaps 2 minutes before hypothermia sets in, possibly less. I'll go, Jackson said immediately. I'm the best swimmer. No, Maria said. I'm the captain. I should go. With respect, Captain, this isn't about rank. It's about who has the best chance of succeeding. That's me. Maria wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. Okay, but we'll be ready to pull you out if something goes wrong. Jackson stripped off his environment suit down to his underclothes. He stood at the edge of the water, took several deep breaths, then dove in. The cold hit him like a hammer. Maria could see him flinch even underwater. But he kicked hard, swimming down toward the light. 10 meters, 20, 30. How long has it been? Rodriguez asked. 40 seconds, Chen said, watching his timer. Jackson reached the bottom. Through the clear water, they could see him grab something from a small alcove. He started swimming back up. But his movements were slower now, weaker. 1 minute 30, Chen reported. Jackson was halfway up when he stopped swimming. His body went limp. No, Maria didn't think. She jumped into the water, suit and all. The cold was incredible, like knives stabbing into her skin. But she kicked down toward Jackson, grabbed his arm and pulled him upward. Chen and Rodriguez were already in the water, swimming down to meet them. Together, they hauled Jackson up and dragged him onto the floor. He was blue and shaking, barely conscious. In his hand, he clutched a silver key. Rodriguez immediately started rubbing Jackson's arms and legs, trying to warm him up. Chen wrapped him in part of their environment suits. Maria knelt beside him, her own body shaking from the cold. Stupid, Jackson mumbled through chattering teeth. Should have. Calculated better. You got the key, Maria said. That's what matters. Incorrect, Sentinel said. The key does not matter. They all looked at the floating sphere. The key was a distraction. This test was about sacrifice. Lieutenant Jackson volunteered to risk his life for the team. Captain Chen jumped into freezing water to save him. The others did not hesitate to help. You value each other more than the mission. This is the second quality, loyalty. The door on the far side of the chamber opened even though they hadn't used the key. Maria wanted to be angry at Sentinel for putting Jackson at risk for a test. But she was too cold and too relieved that he was alive. They rested for a few minutes while Jackson recovered. He refused to stay behind, insisting he could continue. Maria didn't argue. She understood. He needed to finish what he started. The third chamber was the largest yet. It was filled with machinery. Gears turned. Pistons pumped. Conveyor belts moved in complex patterns. In the middle of it all was a platform they needed to reach. The machinery will not harm you directly, Sentinel explained. But it will not stop. You must find a path through. You have 10 minutes. They studied the machinery. Everything moved in perfect rhythm. There were gaps, but they opened and closed at different times. Rodriguez pulled out a small tablet and started making notes, trying to map the timing. This is going to be tight, he said after a few minutes. I think I can see a path, but we'll need to move fast and time everything perfectly. Can we stop any of the machines? Chen asked. Unknown. The controls might be accessible, but finding them would take longer than 10 minutes. Then we follow your path, Maria decided. Rodriguez led them into the machinery. They ducked under moving arms, jumped over rotating wheels, squeezed through gaps that closed seconds after they passed. Maria's heart pounded. One wrong step would mean getting crushed or torn apart. They were almost to the platform when Rodriguez's foot slipped. He fell forward, rolling toward a massive gear that would crush him in seconds. Chen dove and grabbed his ankle, pulling him back. But the motion threw Chen off balance. She slid toward a different machine, a press that was coming down fast. Jackson, still weak from the cold water, jumped and shoved Chen out of the way. The press came down. Jackson rolled, but not fast enough. The press caught his leg. He screamed. Maria and Rodriguez grabbed him and pulled him free. His leg was broken. They could all see the unnatural angle. But they were running out of time. The machinery kept moving, and Jackson couldn't walk. Leave me, Jackson gasped. Get to the platform. Absolutely not, Maria said. She got under one arm. Rodriguez took the other. Chen cleared the path ahead. Together, they carried Jackson through the last section of machinery and onto the platform. They made it with 11 seconds to spare. Jackson was pale and sweating. His leg needed medical attention immediately. But they had all made it. Impressive, Sentinel said. You adapted when the plan failed. You refused to abandon your wounded. You succeeded together or not at all. This is the third quality, perseverance. How many more tests? Maria asked. She was exhausted. They all were. Your testing is complete. What? But you said there were many tests. I said the council species failed many tests. I did not say you would need to complete all of them. The progenitors created these tests to measure character, not endurance. You have proven what you are. Cooperative, loyal, perseverant. These are the qualities the progenitors valued. These are the qualities the council lacks. Another door opened. Beyond it, Maria could see a room filled with light. The vault awaits, Sentinel said. But before you enter, you should know. A council fleet has detected your presence. They are coming. They will arrive in approximately 4 hours. They will destroy your ship and kill you to prevent you from accessing what is inside. The council has always feared this moment. Maria looked at her crew. Jackson with his broken leg. Chen and Rodriguez exhausted from the tests. All of them cold, wet, and scared. Can we defend ourselves? She asked. That depends on what you choose to do with what you find in the vault. The choice will be yours, Captain Maria Chen. Choose wisely. The fate of your species may depend on it. Maria helped support Jackson as they walked through the final door. The light surrounded them, and in the center of the room, floating in the air, was something that would change everything. The vault was smaller than Maria expected. Just a simple room with white walls that seemed to glow from within. In the center floated a device. It looked like a star made of crystal and metal, with hundreds of thin arms extending from a central core. Each arm ended in a point that sparkled with contained energy. What is it? Rodriguez asked quietly. Sentinel moved to hover beside the device. The progenitors called it the chain breaker. It is a weapon, but not a weapon that destroys planets or kills people. It destroys something far more fundamental to space travel. Maria stepped closer, studying the device. What does it destroy? The ability to move faster than light. This device can create a field across an entire sector of space. Within that field, FTL travel becomes impossible. Ships can only move at normal speeds. Communications that use FTL methods fail. An entire region of the galaxy can be isolated completely. The implications hit Maria like a physical blow. She looked at her crew and saw the same understanding in their eyes. This wasn't just a weapon. It was a tool for controlling the galaxy itself. The progenitors built this, Sentinel continued. They were a peaceful species. They believed knowledge should be shared freely, but they were also practical. They knew that not all species shared their values. So they built the chainbreaker as a final defense, a way to isolate aggressive civilizations until they learned to be peaceful. Did they ever use it? Chen asked. Once. Against a species that sought to conquer the entire galaxy. The progenitors trapped them in their home sector for 3,000 years. By the time the field was lowered, that species had changed. They had learned. They became peaceful. And what happened to the progenitors? Maria asked, though she thought she already knew the answer. They died, not from war, from old age. Their species simply reached the end of its natural lifespan. Before they died, they built this facility. They left the chainbreaker here guarded by me, waiting for a species worthy of carrying on their work. Maria walked around the device slowly. The council knows about this. That's why they keep everyone away. They're afraid someone will use it against them. Correct. The council is built on control. They control trade routes. They control access to resources. They control which species are allowed to advance and which must remain primitive. The chainbreaker threatens all of that. One species with this device could reshape galactic politics entirely. Rodriguez limped forward, his broken leg splinted with pieces of their environment suits. So what happens now? You said we passed the tests. Does that mean we can take it? You may. The chainbreaker is yours if you choose to claim it, but you should understand what claiming it means. The council will hunt you. They will declare humanity an enemy of galactic peace. They will do everything in their power to destroy your species before you can use the device. And if we don't take it? Maria asked. Then it remains here, and your species remains at the mercy of the council. They will continue to restrict your access to resources. They will limit your expansion. They will keep you weak, because they fear what humans might become if given the chance to grow strong. Maria felt the weight of the decision crushing down on her. Take the device and paint a target on all of humanity, or leave it and condemn Earth to slow starvation under council restrictions. There's another option, she said slowly, an idea forming in her mind. What if we don't take the device but we don't leave it here either? Sentinel's floating form tilted slightly, a gesture Maria interpreted as curiosity. Explain. The Council keeps this place secret because they're afraid of what one species might do with the Chainbreaker. But what if no single species could use it? What if it required cooperation? You propose sharing the device? Not exactly. I propose splitting the control codes. Make it so the Chainbreaker requires 3 separate keys to activate. Give 1 key to humanity, but give the other 2 keys to Council species. Species that have shown they can be trusted. Rodriguez looked shocked. Captain, are you sure? We'd be giving up our advantage. We'd be giving up the ability to use it alone, Maria corrected. But we'd also be giving up the target on our backs. And we'd be proving to the Council that humans can be trusted with power. That we don't want to dominate. We want to cooperate. The progenitors would approve, Sentinel said. There was something in its voice that might have been satisfaction. This is the final quality. Wisdom. The ability to see beyond immediate advantage to long-term peace. Very well. I will reprogram the Chainbreaker as you suggest, but you must choose the 2 species who will hold the other keys. Maria thought carefully. She needed species that were powerful enough that the Council would respect the decision, but peaceful enough that they wouldn't abuse the power. The Vex Collective, she said finally. They're scientists and explorers. They've never started a war. And the Tyranni. They're old and wise. They've been part of the Council since the beginning, but they've always advocated for peaceful solutions. Acceptable choices. However, you should know that the Council fleet will arrive in less than 4 hours. Their commander is Praetor Krell of the Xanthar Empire. He is not known for patience or mercy. He will attempt to seize the Chainbreaker by force. Then we need to be ready for him. Maria turned to Rodriguez. Can you walk? I can move. It hurts, but I can move. Good, Chen, get back to the ship. Tell Zhen and Okoro what's happening. I want the tenacity ready for battle. Rodriguez, you go with her. Get that leg properly treated. Captain, I can still help. That's an order. Jackson stays here with me. We'll work with Sentinel to reprogram the Chainbreaker. Chen and Rodriguez didn't argue. They left quickly, helping each other through the facility's corridors. Maria turned to Jackson. He was sitting on the floor, his back against the wall. His face was pale but determined. How are you holding up? I've had better days, Captain. But I'm not dead yet. Good, because I need you to send a message. Use the long-range transmitter on the Tenacity. Send a message to the Vex Collective and the Tyranni. Tell them what we found here. Tell them about the Chainbreaker and my proposal. And tell them to get here as fast as they can. You think they'll come? I think they'll be very interested in having a say in how this device is controlled. And I think having them here when Krell arrives might prevent a bloodbath. Jackson nodded and started working on composing the message using his wrist computer. Maria turned back to Sentinel. How long to reprogram the device? 3 hours. Perhaps less if you assist. The process requires biological confirmation at several stages. The progenitors did not trust AI alone with such power. Then we better get started. The reprogramming was complex. Maria had to place her hands on certain nodes while Sentinel made adjustments to the device's core code. The crystal star pulsed and shifted, its structure changing at the molecular level. Maria could feel energy tingling through her fingers. It wasn't painful, but it was deeply strange, like the device was reading her intentions and judging her worthy. An hour passed, then 2. Jackson finished sending the message and was monitoring for responses. So far, nothing. Maria tried not to think about what would happen if Krell arrived before the Vex or Tyranni. Captain, Sentinel said. The reprogramming is complete. The Chainbreaker now requires 3 keys for activation. I am generating the keys now. 3 small crystal chips materialized in the air. Each one glowed with a different color. Blue for humanity. Green for the Vex, gold for the Tyranni. Maria picked up the blue chip. It was warm in her hand and surprisingly heavy for something so small. This was the key to unimaginable power, and she was about to share it. Captain! Jackson called out. I'm getting a response. The Vex are coming. ETA 90 minutes. The Tyranni, they're already here. They were apparently on their way as soon as they detected the defense grid activating. They've been watching the Forbidden Zone for centuries. Where are they? In orbit. They're requesting permission to land. Grant it. Tell them to land at the hangar where we came in. Maria looked at Sentinel. What about Krell? His fleet has just entered the system. 20 warships. They will arrive at the ring world in 30 minutes. They are not attempting to hide their approach. They are broadcasting a demand for your immediate surrender. 30 minutes. Maria ran through options in her mind. The Tenacity couldn't fight 20 warships. Even with the Tyranni's help, they'd be outnumbered. She needed more time for the Vex to arrive. Sentinel, can you control the defense grid? Yes. Then I need you to slow Krell down. Not destroy his ships. Just make him be more careful. Understood. I will activate defensive protocols. The fleet will need to approach more slowly or risk significant damage. Good. That should buy us the time we need. Jackson, let's get back to the ship. We need to greet the Tyranni. They made their way back through the corridors. Maria supported Jackson, moving as quickly as his injury allowed. Behind them, Sentinel followed with the chainbreaker floating alongside. The device was the size of a basketball now. Sentinel had compressed it for easier transport. They reached the hangar to find the Tenacity surrounded by activity. A massive Tyranni ship had landed nearby. It was graceful and curved, looking more like a work of art than a warship. Tyranni soldiers stood in neat formations. They were tall and thin with silver skin and 3 eyes. Their leader stepped forward. I am Ambassador Tellin of the Tyranni. We have received your message, Captain Chen, and we have a proposal of our own. Maria straightened, trying to look more commanding despite being exhausted and wet. I'm listening, Ambassador. We agree to your terms, but we have one addition. When Praetor Krell arrives, let us handle the negotiations. The Tyranni have significant influence in the Council. We can convince them to accept this new arrangement. But you must trust us. Maria studied the ambassador's face. She was taking a huge risk. But what choice did she have? I trust you, she said finally. Let's show the Council that humanity is ready to join them as equals. The ambassador's 3 eyes all blinked at once, a Tyranni expression of respect. Then let us prepare. Krell will be here soon, and he will not be happy. Praetor Krell's fleet filled the sky above the ring world. 20 warships in perfect formation. Each one bristled with weapons. They hung in orbit like predators circling prey. The defense grid had forced them to approach slowly, but now they were here. And Krell was sending shuttles down to the surface. Maria stood in the hangar with Ambassador Tellin. Behind them, the Tyranni soldiers had formed a protective circle around the Tenacity and the chainbreaker. Chen and the rest of Maria's crew were at their stations, ready for whatever came next. Jackson sat in a medical chair, his leg properly treated by Tyranni doctors but his weapon still in reach. Are you sure about this? Maria asked the ambassador quietly. No, Tillon admitted. His 3 eyes blinked independently, showing his concern. Krell is ambitious and proud. He believes humanity should remain a junior species. He will not appreciate being outmaneuvered. What happens if he decides to just take the device by force? Then we defend it. The Tyranni may be peaceful, but we are not helpless, and we have sent word to the Vex. They should arrive within minutes. The shuttles landed. Their ramps lowered. Praetor Krell emerged first. He was Xanthar, one of the warrior species of the Council. He stood 3 meters tall with 4 arms and dark blue scales. His eyes glowed red as he scanned the hangar. Behind him came 50 soldiers, all armed and armored. Krell's gaze locked on Maria. He crossed the hangar in long strides, his soldiers following. The Tyranni guards tensed but held their positions. Human. Krell's voice was deep and filled with contempt. You have violated Council law. You entered a forbidden zone. You activated ancient weapons. And now you attempt to claim technology that belongs to the Council. Maria forced herself to stand straight and meet his eyes. With respect, Praetor, the technology doesn't belong to the Council. It belongs to whoever the progenitors deemed worthy. And according to Sentinel, we passed the tests. Tests. Krell spat the word. Primitive games. The Council is the rightful heir to all progenitor technology. We have maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. We do not need the approval of a machine. Then you should have no problem with our proposal, Ambassador Tellin said smoothly, stepping forward. Captain Chen has suggested a solution that benefits everyone. I know your proposal, Tyranni. I received your transmission. You want to give humans a key to the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. You want to make them equal partners in controlling it. This is foolishness, is it? Maria asked. The Council has kept this device hidden for thousands of years because you don't trust each other with it. Every Council species knows that if one of you claimed the chainbreaker, you'd use it to dominate the others. We're offering a solution. No single species can use it. Everyone has to agree, including humans. Humans, Krell said the word like it tasted bad. You have been in space for barely a century. You know nothing of galactic politics. You have no right to this power. We have the right that the progenitors gave us, Maria shot back. We passed their tests. We proved we value cooperation over domination. Can you say the same? Krell's red eyes flared brighter, his four hands clenched into fists. For a moment Maria thought he might attack, but Ambassador Tellin raised one long finger in warning. Praetor, consider your actions carefully. The Tyranni support this proposal. The Vex have also agreed. If you attempt to take the device by force, you will be starting a war. Is that truly what you want? The Vex agreed. Krell looked genuinely surprised. When? They arrive now, Tellin said. As if on cue, new ships appeared in the sky. 12 vessels, smaller than Krell's warships but sleek and fast. The Vex had arrived. One of their shuttles descended immediately. The Vex were unlike any other species. They were collective beings. Thousands of small creatures working together in perfect harmony. Their ambassador was actually hundreds of small blue creatures wearing a single environment suit. They spoke with one voice created by all of them together. We are here. We have reviewed the human proposal. We find it acceptable. We find it wise. The Chainbreaker should not be controlled by one species. It should be controlled by cooperation. This is what the progenitors would have wanted. Krell looked around the hangar. He was outnumbered now. His ships might be more powerful, but the Tyranni and Vex combined had enough force to make any battle costly. And attacking two council species would destroy his political position. This is a mistake, Krell said finally. Humans cannot be trusted with such power. They are too young, too reckless. We were young once, the Vex said. All species were young. Some grow wise, some do not. We believe humans show promise. I believe the same, Tellin added. Captain Chen had the opportunity to claim the entire device for her species. She chose to share instead. This is wisdom. Krell was silent for a long moment. Maria could see him calculating. She knew he wanted to fight. But he also knew he couldn't win. Not here. Not now. Very well, Krell said at last. The Council will accept this arrangement. But hear me, human. You will be watched. If you or your species abuse this trust, the consequences will be severe. Understood, Maria said. We don't want war, Praetor. We just want a chance to survive and grow. Krell turned away without another word. His soldiers followed him back to their shuttles. Within minutes, his fleet was leaving orbit. But Maria knew this wasn't over. Krell would be an enemy now. He would look for any opportunity to prove humans were not ready for galactic politics. You made a powerful enemy today, Tellin observed once Krell's ships were gone, but also powerful friends. I hope, Maria replied, indeed. The Tyranni will remember what happened here, as will the Vex. You showed wisdom beyond your years as a species. This will not be forgotten. Sentinel floated forward, still carrying the compressed chainbreaker. It is time to distribute the keys. Each species must take custody of their key. The device will be returned to the vault where I will continue to guard it. If ever all three species agree that the chainbreaker must be used, bring your keys here. Only then will it activate. The ceremony was simple. Tellin took the gold key for the Tyranni. The Vex ambassador accepted the green key for their collective. And Maria held the blue key for humanity. 3 pieces of a weapon that could reshape the galaxy. 3 species bound together by responsibility. What will you do now, Captain Chen? The Vex asked. Return to Earth, Maria said. Report what we found. And then, she paused, thinking. And then we'll show the galaxy what humans can really do when given a chance. We look forward to seeing it, Tellin said. His 3 eyes all focused on her with respect. Safe travels, Captain. You are always welcome in Tyranni space. The ambassadors departed with their keys. Their ships lifted off and disappeared into the black. Maria and her crew were alone with Sentinel again. You did well, Sentinel said. The progenitors would be pleased. You understood what they were truly testing, not strength or intelligence, but the ability to see beyond your own interests, to choose peace over power. Thank you, Maria said, for giving us the chance. I gave you nothing. You earned it. Now go. Return to your people. Tell them their future is bright. And tell them they are no longer alone in the galaxy. Sentinel returned to the depths of the facility, taking the chainbreaker with it. Maria and her crew boarded the Tenacity. As they prepared for launch, Maria looked at her crew. They were tired and injured and had been through hell, but they were alive, and they had changed everything. Captain, Okoro said from communications, I'm receiving a transmission from Earth. They're asking for a status report. Maria smiled. Tell them mission accomplished. Tell them we didn't find the fuel we were looking for, but we found something better. We found a future. The tenacity lifted off and climbed toward the stars. Behind them, the ring world fell away. Ahead, the journey home waited. But Maria wasn't thinking about the past or even the present. She was thinking about what came next. Earth would need to tell the whole story to the galaxy. The Council would restructure to include humanity as a full member. There would be challenges. Species like the Xanthar would test them, but humans had proven they belonged. And somewhere in the depths of the Forbidden Zone, the Chainbreaker waited. A weapon that would hopefully never be needed. But if it was, humanity would have a say in how it was used. They were no longer just another young species struggling to survive. They were partners in maintaining galactic peace. 3 weeks later, the Tenacity entered Earth's orbit. The planet looked beautiful from space, blue and white and green. Home. Maria had left seeking fuel to save her people from freezing in the dark. She returned with something far more valuable: hope. As their shuttle descended toward the landing pad, Maria touched the pocket where she kept the blue key. It was a heavy responsibility. Future generations would carry it. They would need to prove again and again that humans could be trusted. But Maria believed they would succeed, because that's what humans did. They faced impossible odds. They solved unsolvable problems. They never gave up. And when given the choice between power and wisdom, they had chosen wisdom. The shuttle landed. The door opened. Maria stepped out onto Earth soil for the first time in months. A crowd was waiting. Government officials, military leaders, scientists, and at the front, her family. Maria smiled. She had so much to tell them. About the ring world and Sentinel and the tests. About Krell and the ambassadors and the impossible choice she had made. But first, she just wanted to be home. Welcome back, Captain, one of the officials said. The President wants a full briefing. The Council has been in communication. They're preparing to officially recognize humanity as a full member. How did you do it? Maria looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, the ring world orbited in its forbidden zone. The Chainbreaker waited in its vault. And 3 species held keys to the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. We showed them who we really are, Maria said simply. We showed them that humans might be young, but we're not foolish. We're not conquerors. We're explorers. We're cooperators. We're survivors. And most importantly, we're partners. She turned and walked toward her family, her crew following behind her. Behind them, the Tenacity stood silent on the landing pad. It had carried them into the unknown and brought them home again. Just like humanity itself, it had survived when no one thought it would. The galaxy had learned a lesson that day. Never underestimate humans. Never assume they will act like other species have acted. Because humans have a gift. They can face the impossible and find a way through. They can be offered ultimate power and choose to share it instead. No one had known the human ship was there when it entered the Forbidden Zone. But everyone knew now. And nothing would ever be the same again. The story of the Tenacity and its crew would be told for generations. The story of how humanity earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or force, but through wisdom and courage and the simple choice to do what was right instead of what was easy. And somewhere in the deep black of space, Sentinel stood guard over the Chainbreaker, waiting patiently for the day when 3 species would need to come together again, hoping that day would never come, but ready if it did. Because the progenitors had been right. The galaxy needed guardians. Not warriors, not conquerors, but species who understood that true power came not from weapons but from wisdom. And humanity, against all odds, had proven they understood that truth. The Forbidden Zone was no longer a mystery. The price had been paid in courage and sacrifice. And the legacy would last forever. A legacy of cooperation, of wisdom, of hope. A legacy that started with 1 ship and 1 crew who refused to give up. Who entered where others feared to go, and who changed the galaxy forever.